In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to add text to an image using Photoshop. I'm going to grab the text tool, and a lot of what I cover here will be applicable to any photo editing programs, whether you're using GIMP or others that are out there. This technique will apply as well. So after I grab my text tool, which is a big T in Photoshop, I'm just going to simply click over my image. Now, if I wanted to, I could set the parameters of the font that I'm using up here in the control panel. I'm going to do that after the fact, but you're welcome to do that before you actually click on here and start typing away. We're going to say on our strawberry image to eat strawberries. Now my font's way too big here. So a couple ways I can make this smaller. I could double click in here to select all of it, or triple click, and then change the font size up here in the control panel. Let me show you a technique that I really like to use. I've selected the text. I'm going to open up the character panel. That's available to us in a number of ways. I'm going to grab it by clicking on this icon to the far right in the control panel there. It pops open the character panel. With that text selected, and it doesn't have to be selected, I like it being selected, then I can kind of see the size of this. I'm just going to click to the left of the font size. These are scrubbable, what I call scrubbable fields, meaning I can just click and start dragging. And I can visually set the size of this text, like so. I'm going to click off of there, and there's our text that we just added. Okay. I'm going to close this character panel here. This text is actually a little hard to read up against the busyness of the image behind it. A couple of things we could do here. I'm going to show you a couple of techniques. I could duplicate this layer, the Eat Strawberries, a text layer. One way to do that is highlight that layer and then press in your keyboard Command-J or Control-J. Now I have two copies of that text. I'm going to grab my text tool and just triple click that first one to select everything. I'm going to turn this from a white to a black. One way to do that is to switch the background and foreground colors here over in the color box area towards the bottom of the toolbar. Now it's made the selected text black, and the one underneath it is still white. However, because this covers it up, you can't see it. I'm going to drag this top one, which I just turned to black, below this white one by clicking on that layer, dragging it down. When I see the double line between these two layers, I'm going to place it right between the background and the white strawberries words. Now I'm going to nudge this black text just a bit so it's not right underneath the white. I'm going to make sure with my move tool, I'm just going to use my arrow keys on my keyboard, go down maybe a couple times and to the right. Voila. Now it's very similar to adding a drop shadow. This just gives you a little more control over it, if you will. It makes it pop even a little bit more. A drop shadow is a little more fuzzy. That's one way to offset the text. Another one that I will often use, I'm going to go ahead and, actually I'm going to leave that there because that still might look kind of nice. I was going to say I'm going to turn this off, but I'm going to leave it there for this next technique. If the image behind my text is very, very busy, I often like to draw a shape behind the text to help offset the text from that busy image. To do that, I'm going to grab my shape tool, which is several tools below the text tool, and I'm going to choose a rounded rectangle tool to kind of soften the edges a bit. I also want this to be filled with white, so I'm going to switch my background and foreground color so I pick up a white color. I'm going to simply click and drag to create a shape the size of that text. Now it's going to, in this case, I put my shape between my two strawberry layers, so it's actually below my first strawberry layer, but that's in white, so I have white on white. So I'm going to click on the shape layer, drag it underneath both text layers so it's behind. And that's not working real well because we have too much white, but I'm going to show you a technique. If I add a shape behind those words, I like to make it so I can kind of see through that shape. To do so, with the shape layer highlighted, I'm going to bring this opacity down to something like so. I'm going to turn off the black layer so you can see the end result a little bit better, the impact it has. And because we're using white there. I might actually leave my black text turned on to help offset it a bit. Now if I turn off my, see how much easier that is to read? So the black color works well if I have the shape behind there to help offset it. If I did not have that shape, it blends in way too easily. And actually the white does a little bit better. So a couple ways there to add text and also help your text pop from your image.